As Rabbi Nora Ephron once famously said, be the heroine of your life, not the victim. There is no better place to do that than in the pages of your journal. So, when I feel the grip of depression coming upon me, I get myself to temple. I need to be reminded that I am in a community, and that my community, I belong to them, that I'm a part of something bigger. I just learned a new word from my friend Sarah, Shahina, the intimate feminine presence of God, or actually this is Sarah's word, Lady God, because let's face it, to create a universe this amazing took a lot of multitasking, so clearly God is a woman. I knew Lady God would not intervene on my behalf, nor give me everything I wanted. But she was present with me, always holding my hand with compassion, and I could just see it in the faces of everybody else, lighting me up in a transcendent glow. The more I've come to believe there is something bigger than me that connects me to my ancestors back through history and to Jews living anywhere today, I've realized, okay, so you know what that means? There's something divine in me. And self-care, nurturing that sacred thing within me is really important. The deeper on the path towards healing in Judaism I've walked, I've also learned that authentic self-care, really, truly nurturing for yourself, is actually deeply rooted in our tradition. Now, this might not seem obvious. Could self-care really be core to Judaism? I believe it is. One of my most beloved stories to illustrate this point comes from the 7th century Hasidic rabbi Zuzha, who on his deathbed began to cry out in regret and pain. His disciples tried to comfort him, saying, "You're almost as wise as Moses and Abraham. Surely heaven will judge you favorably." Zuzha answered, "It's true. When I get to heaven, I won't worry so much if God asks me, 'Zuzha, why were you not more like Abraham or Moses?' But what will I say when God asks me, 'Zuzha, why were you not more like Zuzha?'" That story always gives me the chills, because if we're given this unique spark, doesn't it make sense that whatever gave it to us wants us to shine, wants us to be healthy? So here's how I see it. If Adonai, Lady God, the animating force of the universe, science, energy, randomness, nothingness, whatever you want to call it, whatever that thing is, if it gave us some spark that brought us to life, isn't it our duty to take care of that gift as an act of gratitude? In fact, and by the way, I'm really proud of this, because I've never, ever read a prayer in front of anybody in my life except on Instagram. It's the prayer, Elohai Neshama, my God, the soul you have placed within me is pure. I love that. Forget about the religious context of it, because we're acknowledging that we were gifted something valuable that is worth taking care of. And the gratitude in that prayer is not one of collective thanks. It's a singular and a unique expression because we have each been given individual lives. I think the Hillel the Elder, one of the best-known sages of the Talmud, said it best. If I'm not for myself, who will be for me? So if you ever get hung up about is self-care selfish, or do I deserve to take care of myself, remember that none other than Hillel encouraged you to have your own back. If self-care has deep roots in Judaism, then is it any wonder that 3 of my favorite self-care tools also come from our tradition? I would say that journaling is definitely one of them. And it seems to be specifically made for the Jews. Are we not people of the book? Are we not good with words? And isn't the Talmud kind of sort of a running journaling practice? Journaling has changed my life. If we go back to the 25-year-old me for a moment, it wasn't until I journaled that I had any clue what was going inside of me. My brain was like an electrical storm, scary and constantly shocking me into behaving in ways I didn't understand. More recently, in a totally chaotic world, journaling gives me a sense of safety. It's a reliable habit where I can be exactly who I am without fear of judgment. Every time I sit down to write my own story, I remind myself that I matter, that my voice is worth recording, and that I can do myself the honor of being the narrator to my life, not the passive witness. I've talked to a lot of people since writing the book. Book did really well, so I get DMs all the time from people all over the world talking to me about what it is they're going through. And one thing I can tell you is that in the thousands of messages I've gotten, if people just knew that they belonged, things would be a lot different.